everybody, and welcome to the Queen City, the first of three on the second leg of this road trip from Atlanta to Cincinnati. We come. It's the Marlins and the Reds. First of three here from Great American Ballpark on a beautiful night here in Cincinnati, and a bit of a reunion as well, as Derek Dietrich greeting some of his former teammates, now with the Cincinnati Reds in the 2019 campaign. The fans are out tonight. The throwbacks are here too. Luis Castillo on the mound for the Reds, a terrific changeup, and let's see if Jose Urena can get on track tonight. So much to get into as we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Well, a walk-off loss on Sunday, unfortunately, but a day off to kind of rest and recoup for the Marlins.
Well, and I think they're ready to play a team that's trying to find their way as well in the Cincinnati Reds. I think this is a tremendous opportunity for the Marlins to obviously pick up a couple wins on the road. This Reds team struggling just a bit, but both of these teams actually have those peripheral numbers that we like to talk about that are pretty good. It says their records should probably be a little bit better than what you've seen so far, but listen, it's going to be a tight one. You got a couple of aces going tonight.
Yeah, the Reds won on opening day. They have not won since, and that's why there's a little bit of a lull, a pall cast over this entire city, because this was a club with all the offseason moves that they made, certainly had high expectations coming into 2019. Dietrich's on that list, but also Yasiel, Puig, Matt Kemp, and not pictured here, Alex Wood coming over from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Tanner Roark, Sonny Gray brought over from the Yankees and signed to an extension, but for one reason or another, and mostly it's been the offense, they have not done much out of the gates for their first-year manager, David Bell.
Well, and so much of it has been collective. You do wonder how much Scooter Gennett has missed. He went down with an injury at the end of spring training. Big part of their offense, not around, but top to bottom, Votto on down to Kemp. And, listen, these are names these are household names from around the game, and they're hitting well below 200 as a team. So they have their issues right there. But again, over those last couple of games in Pittsburgh, they did score a few runs, but you wonder if it will transition back here to Great American Ballpark. They got a tough schedule here in the month of April.
And real quick, just a note from those games in Pittsburgh, they scored runs thanks to a Dietrich home run, which led to a brawl, which means David Bell suspended, not managing tonight. Yasiel Puig, a 2-game suspension. He's not in the lineup tonight or tomorrow either. All right, let's get into the pitching now. And Luis Castillo goes for the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, this guy is a special talent, high velocity, great changeup. What do you expect?
Yeah, and they're expecting him to start to climb that way to the ceiling, what they believe is ace status, #1 guy, opening day starter, and you see the numbers so far, 142 ERA, 15 of the 17 punch-outs on changeup. Oh, by the way, he throws 98 miles an hour, and he loves his changeup, so that's a pretty lethal combination. He has been very, very good for this Reds team, and they're expecting him to really start to climb, maybe even an all-star game this year for the young man.
Well, the Marlins turn to their opening day start of the last couple of seasons. Jose Urena, who has yet to really fall into place, at least in terms of how he finished up last season. 8 2/3 on the year and a 10.38 ERA. You and I both know Jose's better than those numbers.
Well, you can go back to his last start and even explain that. Retired the last 9 guys that he faced, so that's something that he's looking to build off of going into tonight's start. I mean, there was good things that happened towards the end. Unfortunately, the rough first inning, he gave up 5 runs and threw 40 pitches, so he didn't go long in that start. But again, some good things to see in the tail end of that second start. You hope it carries over tonight.
It is a Twitter and email Tuesday here, so we'll get plenty of feedback from the fans and the viewers out there. The hashtag is Baseball150, celebrating 150 years of Major League Baseball. We'll check in with Jessica Blaylock on the other side of the break. Of his career in a Marlins uniform. Tonight we see Derek Dietrich in a Reds uni. We send things down to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, this season we're celebrating 150 years of professional baseball, and we're in the city where it all began. So for tonight's Twitter and email Tuesday, we're going with the hashtag Baseball150. Here's how you can get in touch with us. Send those tweets to @FoxMarlins. Your emails can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com, and don't forget to use that hashtag Baseball150. Here are a few of the guys on the most iconic plays or players that have stood out to them.
Well, I think when I think about, as a kid and being a baseball fan and growing up in Pittsburgh, some of the players that I really enjoyed were, Jay Bell and Bobby Bonilla, and Andy Van Slyke was one guy that I really enjoyed watching because they had the turf outfield in Pittsburgh, and he was a center fielder, and he was known for his speed. The '93 All-Star game in Pittsburgh, I remember getting lots of autographs from guys like Frank Thomas and Ken Griffey Jr. that I still have to this day. So, those are the type of players that stick out to me.
I grew up watching the Braves all the time, and of course, Cincinnati was kind of close to home, but I grew up a Braves fan. TBS, I guess they were on every single night, it seemed like, and huge Chipper Jones fan. So just watching him play throughout the years and just his swing, and of course he was number 10 and everything. So big Braves fan.
For me, a guy I loved was Carew. And actually the team that I watched probably more than anything was Cincinnati. And Ken Griffey Sr. and Joe Morgan and Johnny Bench and Tony Perez and all, just those guys.
When we return, it's baseball from Cincinnati on a Tuesday. It's the Marlins and the Reds. It's Luis Castillo and Jose Urena, and it's Paul and Todd in the booth. First pitch is straight ahead.
Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Y-Green. Y-Green is a better way to finance home improvements for energy efficiency and storm protection. Visit ygreen.com. That's energy spelled backwards. And by your local Toyota dealers. Back here in Cincinnati, a beautiful night for baseball, the first of a 3-game series as the Marlins and Reds get things going. This is a look at the Marlins batting order presented to you by Southwest with Curtis Granderson at the top. Anderson and Walker to follow here in the first against Luis Castillo, whose first pitch is in there for a called strike. Then it's Castro and Jorge Alfaro batting fifth. The last time we saw Alfaro, the 2 home runs on Saturday in Atlanta. From Granderson, fouled back over our heads, and it's quickly 0-2. Now for Curtis, 1 for 1 on Sunday. The pinch hit, game-tying home run in the 9th inning. Marlins, of course, ultimately lost on a walk-off at SunTrust Park, losing 2 out of 3 to the Atlanta Braves. So they look to get back on track against Luis Castillo. Perhaps easier said than done. 17 strikeouts in the 2 starts. 18 strikeouts over 2 starts and 1 out.
Yeah, on a strikeout on a changeup. That is now 16 of 18 on the season. Let's go ahead and get you the scouting report. We get too far along tonight. 6'2", 190 pounds, 26 years old. All right, breakout campaign. I think people around here in Cincinnati, the Reds themselves, believe this could be the year for him. Last year, 10-12 with a 4.30 ERA. You say, what was the hang-up? He gave up 28 bombs, third most in the National League. Time for a change. We already saw it. A couple of fastballs, set up the changeup at 87 miles an hour, arm side run in depth. It's a huge pitch for him, and he's going to use it all night long. No mystery here, and might as well. Curtis Granderson saw it as well. So what, 2 fastballs, and then he started to see the changeups. 69% off-speed pitches with 2 strikes this season.
They will check over at first, and Kerwin Danley, who's over there tonight, also the crew chief, says it's a swing. So a ball and a strike to Brian Anderson. Greg Gibson in second, Scott Berry the third base umpire, and Nick Lentz behind home plate. A strike to Anderson inside corner that time. Anderson 0 for 4 with a couple of Ks on Sunday. He had reached base safely in 7 straight, so still getting on base here and there. Even though the hits haven't been falling, just kind of pokes this one foul to stay alive. Just 1 for 10 with a couple of walks and 3 strikeouts in that series against the Braves. But no concern from manager Don Mattingly, who was asked about BA before the game today. Back-to-back strikeouts, and again goes to the change. 2 up and 2 down for Castillo.
Well, it doesn't look like he has any intentions of changing that game plan. For Castillo's made 2 starts this season. We showed you the numbers already, but certainly worth mentioning that both his starts have been at Great America Ballpark right here in Cincinnati. He has been dialed in. Brian Anderson dealing with the 88-mile-an-hour changeup. Had a good conversation with Mike Pagliarulo before the game. I asked what was the approach, lefties and righties, against somebody who throws as hard as Castillo does and has that changeup. Pags told me we're really concentrating middle away and getting the ball up.
And that one well hit, but right at the center fielder, Scott Schebler. A couple of strikeouts in the first for Castillo. We'll see Jose Urena when we come back to Cincinnati. In the first against Luis Castillo, we'll see what Jose Urena has in store for the Cincinnati Reds tonight. This is a struggling offense, to say the least. They enter the day last in average, last in on-base percentage, last in runs scored. Their lineup is presented by Southwest. Winker, Votto, Kemp, Suarez, Schebler, Dietrich, who is at second base today, Peraza, Barnhart, and Castillo. Against Urena, Don Mattingly said before the game, in his 2 starts, we have yet to see the best that Jose Urena has to offer. We certainly saw it at the end of last year. A phenomenal September, little bit maybe on opening day before he got hit with the comebacker, as Winker swings at the first pitch and sends one out to left center field for Lewis Brinson. So let's further get into the...
Well, I maybe we saw a little bit last time out. I guess that's where I want to go with it. And here's the thing. Listen, the score was indicative of that. Of course, the Marlins lost the ball game, and he gave up 5 runs in the first inning, but he did retire 9 straight to end his night. And that, as a baseball player, that's how you have to think. All right, listen, I made some strides there towards the end of my last outing. I need to carry that over into tonight. There's definitely some things that stand out as you see the numbers, the bloated ERA, 6 strikeouts, a couple of walks. He's continued to attack the strike zone.
As Votto sends one out to deep left field, sends Granderson back. This is off the base of the wall. Votto on his way to second base, and he is in there safely. It's Votto's 4th double of the season. The Reds have seen 2 pitches and offered it both.
Well, they certainly have. Clearly the conversation in the clubhouse was let's be aggressive early against Urena. Maybe we get our best pitches early in the count. I mean, let's not forget who's in the box. That's Joey Votto.
Yeah.
Take a walk with the best of them.
Well, he is a guy, Holly, as you know, he is selective with his swings, but if he sees one he likes, he's going to put a good pass on it. As he sends one off the wall and straightaway left center field for the game's first hit, and that will bring up Matt Kemp. Just 2 for 22 on the season. Kind of the story for the Reds. I mentioned their overall numbers, but it's really been their outfielders have really struggled between Schebler, Winker, Puig, Kemp. A combined 11 for 99 with a home run, 2 doubles, and 5 RBIs. One of the reasons why this team has lost 8 straight games, because listen, when guys like Kemp and Puig and others came over this offseason, there were high expectations.
Well, and players like Kemp are coming off all-star seasons. In fact, listen, Matt had, over the last few seasons, he's probably heard a little bit from the media and people. Sometimes his weight comes up. Well, I don't know where that missed, by the way. 0-2 pitch right in the zone. Take another look. I mean, this is not even borderline, partner.
Nope.
That's knee-deep in the strike zone right there.
That's belt high.
There he goes, get him with the slider. And so far from Urena, good to see the slider and the changeup becoming factors. Certainly important to establish them early. They were non-factor pitches for him in his first 2 starts. Get you the Marlins defensively behind Urena for tonight's ballgame. Granderson in left, Brinson in center. O'Brien gets the start once again in right. Anderson, Riddle, Castro, and Walker. Faro behind the plate. Urena on the mound.
This is Eugenio Suarez, brings an average under 200 to the plate. Another guy last year who was a first-time All-Star. 0 for 3 on Sunday. Reds, much like the Marlins, had an off day yesterday. A home run, 2 RBIs for the Reds' third baseman, who takes the ball outside, 2-0. In that series, 1 for 9, a double, a run, 3 walks. But on the whole, there has just not been a rhythm offensively yet for the Reds. They went, 3 days being shut out 3 consecutive games.
Well, and to compound it, the offense did show up a couple of games. Well, in fact, the last 2 games before the off day, the Saturday and the Sunday in Pittsburgh, and the pitching was just, wasn't right where it needed to be. So they're kind of in one of those spots where a losing streak kind of gets explained we're not hitting and we're pitching, and then as soon as the pitching, as soon as the hitting starts to kind of pick things up again, what happens? The pitching kind of takes a turn for the worse.
That's right. That's Freddie Benavides, who is the bench coach, but tonight the acting manager for the Reds. The brouhaha on Sunday with the Dietrich home run and the subsequent throwing behind by Chris Archer. Archer got a 5-game suspension. And punishment coming down this afternoon for the Reds as well. We'll give you the rundown of that, hopefully after this 2-2 pitch. So the Reds had sent out an initial lineup today, and Puig was in it. However, not maybe an hour or so later, the league came down with a 2-game suspension and a fine. He'll serve it tonight and tomorrow. And David Bell, first-year skipper, also serving his suspension tonight. So again, it is Benavides as the acting manager tonight for the Cincinnati Reds. Three balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Votto with a double is on at second base. And Eugenio deals right back up the middle past the dive of Castro. Votto being waved around third. The throw from center's off the mark. And they've got Suarez hung up between first and second. Walker applies the tag and the inning is over. But an RBI single for Suarez gets the Reds on the board after 1.
Move to the top of the second inning. Suarez, big base hit here as the Reds. They have not had many leads this year, but sends one back through the box. You see Brinson comes up with the throw to home. It's offline. Neil Walker does a fantastic job right here. Remember, he's the cut there, so he moves to the middle of the infield and nobody's back. Eugenio was not actually back at first base. He did a nice job getting Suarez there. He had an out back towards first, but Neil ran towards first to cut that gap down and did a great job of getting Suarez out to end the inning.
0-1 to Starlin Castro, who softly lines one over to short. A close play at first, but Peraza makes the play to retire Castro, and there is 1 out in the second.
Let's get you the Reds defensively behind Castillo for tonight's ball game. Kemp gets the start in left, his 6th. Schebler in center, Winker in right. Suarez, Peraza, Dietrich, Votto, Barnhart behind the plate. Barnhart had a Gold Glove in 2017. Joey Votto too. He's got one way back in 2011.
This is Jorge Alfaro again. Last time we saw him was Saturday night. Had a couple of home runs. He's got 3 on the season. They have all gone to right field. A solo home run in the middle innings that got the Marlins on the board, and then a huge 2-run home run that gave them the lead. They would ultimately win that game, their only win in the 3-game series against the Braves. But nice to see from Alfaro, who enters play today. 7 for 25 on the season, which equates to that .280 batting average. But the 3 home runs, settling in offensively, I'd say.
Well, leads the team, 3 homers, 6 RBIs. But the approach is what I was trying to get to in the first inning. Of course, the Marlins were a bit aggressive, and I kind of expect them to be against Castillo. You don't want to wait around too long. Point being, against Castillo, you want to get the ball up and out. Talking to Mike Pagliarulo, as we mentioned in that first inning, wants the hitters to let the ball get deep so that they give themselves a chance.
Bobbled by Suarez, and Peraza was there behind him. Let's see how they score this one, but Alfaro is going to reach.
Start your Fridays with the Little Havana Nights, presented by Estrella, Jalisco, and Marlins Park. Enjoy a uniquely delicious food experience and local music talent while kicking back with some cold drinks. Tickets start at $10. Visit marlins.com/PA.
So Alfaro reaches on the E5, and JT Riddle steps to the plate. Figure Riddle will get a nice hand today. About 20 family and friends in town. Pops this one up left side and into the second or third row. 0-1. For JT, did not play on Sunday. 1 for 7 in Atlanta. Step on the grass over at third is Suarez as Castillo deals. Riddle family watching, waiting. He's going to have a lot of people in town for these 3 days. He's not far from home, about an hour and a half from his hometown. They check over at third. It's a swing and another strikeout for Castillo. There are 2 away in the inning.
You don't see it too often. Every now and again he'll pick one up, and this is what the hitters are contending with. That's a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. He climbed the ladder. It's certainly worth noting. It's one thing, as we mentioned, with the fastball, he doesn't throw it in the strike zone very much, especially when he's looking to expand. He really attacks the strike zone more with his changeup than he does with his fastball. In fact, so far this season, his fastball strike percentage at just over 48%, which is actually lowest in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, bucking the trend. Usually you hear guys say, I got to be able to establish my fastball to get to the secondary stuff. Doesn't seem as though he's establishing that much.
Well, it really is just speaking to what he believes his changeup does, and clearly it's proving it. I mean, 17 of his 20 strikeouts on the season have come against the changeup. He's merely using his other pitches, including that slider, which you just saw, to get to the changeup.
Alfaro away from first as Brinson cuts and misses. A ball and 2 strikes.
And that's the other thing. Even the changeup many times as he throws it at the knee, dives out of the strike zone, much like Trevor Richards, and we get to talk about it again here in the Cincinnati series. Arm side run, depth down out of the strike zone. You can see the grip in the glove. Here comes the changeup.
Brinson's last 8 games, he's 9 for 30. That's a .300 average, couple of doubles. Trying to come up with something with 2 outs as Alfaro was off with the pitch on the move. Throw down is in time. There's a caught stealing for Tucker Barnhart, and Brinson will lead off the 3rd. 1-0 Reds in Cincinnati. Inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Jessica Blaylock back with you here in Cincinnati. First of a 3-game series. A 6:40 first pitch tonight and tomorrow before a 12:30 go time on getaway day. For both of these clubs, in fact, the Cincinnati Reds will have Friday off before they play 2 games in Monterrey, Mexico against the St. Louis Cardinals. Marlins will head back home. But first, they've got to finish up business against the Reds. It's Trevor Richards and Tyler Mahle tomorrow night. It's inside to Scott Schebler, who leads it off, the center fielder, and then Derek Dietrich and Jose Peraza. An Eugenio Suarez RBI single has the Reds on the board. Schebler fouls this one to the left side and out of play. 2-1. Schebler gets the start in center field. Of course, one of the departures from the Cincinnati Reds. We've talked a lot about their additions, but one of their subtractions was Billy Hamilton, and just in kind of getting caught up on the Reds the last couple of days. It sounds like outfield defense has been one of the other things that has maybe been lacking a little bit without a true center fielder here in Cincinnati.
Well, everybody's going to get compared to Billy, and I don't think that's fair.
Right.
I mean, defensively speaking anyway. The upgrade, the way the Reds were thinking, is we're going to make a big stride forward, big move offensively. Billy Hamilton very limited. He's still trying to figure out how to get on base more consistently and use the world-class speed. Well, it just never really seemed to develop here. The defense, though, some of the best you'll ever see.
Just off the inside corner, and it's a leadoff walk.
Pro Balla, shot caller. You decide. Catch Big for Yourself with Jason Whitlock. Marcellus Wiley weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
Which one are you? A pro baller or a shot caller?
Well,
or maybe a little bit of both.
I'm probably more of a pro baller.
Yeah, I guess at one point where you were. Yeah. Derek Dietrich with a drive down the right field line and foul. Well, again, 5 ejections on Sunday, and Dietrich was not ejected, but kind of in the middle of it all as he took Chris Archer deep, took a good look at this home run. Next time up, Chris Archer, who is normally animated on the mound himself, took umbrage with the fact that Dietrich took a while to check out the home run. Bench is cleared. On the Reds side of things, their manager, David Bell, Puig, Amir Garrett, all ejected. And then Dietrich came back and homer later.
Yeah, he hit another ball into the rivers. Take that. That's right. There's your payback.
Took another look.
Well, listen, I think that so much of that was really predictable. And I know it hasn't really been talked about a whole lot, but when you watch the video back, Cervelli was kind of eyeballing him, the catcher for the Pirates, the whole time he was coming around the bases, and even after he crossed home plate after the first 2-run homer.
A long run with the shift on, but Riddle is there to make the catch, and there's one out. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of, certainly it was the talk of baseball the last couple of days since it happened on Sunday afternoon and throughout the day, and now with the suspensions coming down today, it's back in the headlines. And I guess I would agree with a lot of the talk about, Archer is a guy who wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Right.
He's a bit of a showman out there, a supremely talented pitcher, no question about it. And I've heard a lot of people say, listen, if you're going to act that way and be happy when you succeed, you can really not be upset when others succeed at your expense.
Well, and listen, this is one that gets talked about. You want this to go away first. I'll say this: I think Archer was suspended for 5 games.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not really putting a stop to anything. That's just really, putting everybody in a position to talk about it more, because it will happen again.
Yeah.
I mean, you want it to stop, it's got to be clearly a more significant penalty than that. I mean, I think it's pretty clear what everybody saw. But, in Dietrich's defense, I'm not really defending him because I was a run guy, and I certainly would want to teach my kids to run. I'm not one that would stand in the box and necessarily watch it. All I'm saying is, what has history taught us? Some of the game's greatest have done that before Dietrich did it. He wasn't the first guy to do it. And I think that we've seen that many times throughout history. So, I don't know. I always find, some teams like to be the police officers, and other teams, who's the judge and jury on all this stuff? You get to stand and watch it, and you don't. So if you do, then you're going to get one in your back pocket. See, that's where I think I have a problem. Because I don't think we have the same set of rules for players, and I think that's just really the way that it goes. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but watch this. The great Ken Griffey Jr., he's done it a few times, right? Well, he wasn't getting one in his back pocket. But, I mean, I guess that's the point. You sit there and you think, okay, is that the question? Has he earned the right to do it? I mean, it's a slippery slope, but, I mean, I think that's where people are on this.
Yeah. I certainly defer to the players. And if in this particular situation, as Peraza sends one into left field, that is going to fall for a base hit. On the way to third is Schebler, and Peraza hustles into second with a 1-out double. The Reds have 2 runners in scoring position.
Well, when your offense is slumping, what you try to do is do a lot of other things better, and the Reds are starting to get some hits right here, but I was impressed with Schebler around second base. You see Peraza, that's a sure double, not because it was ripped into the corner, but in fact because it wasn't. As Granderson made his way over, Schebler was going to third base all the way, which left second open for Peraza to hustle in. That's second and third now, runners in scoring position for the Reds.
Now, Tucker Barnhart is going to be intentionally walked. That will load the bases, set up the force anywhere, and bring up the pitcher, Luis Castillo. So officially the second walk tonight for Urania. And Don Mattingly signaling to bring the infield in Let's see. On the corners for sure. Middle infielders are back a little bit closer to double play depth. Schebler, Peraza, Barnhart, your runners third to first as Castillo swings and foul tips 96 into Alfaro's glove. 0-1.
Now, no doubt, this is a very big moment in this ball game. The way Castillo is throwing the ball, not the way he's hitting, but he is hitting.
Well, it was 40 pitches in that 5-run first inning last time out for Urania. Got the pitch count up. As Holly noted, he really settled down afterwards. And comes up with a big out there as he gets Castillo. There are 2 away. Back to the top of the lineup for Jesse Winker, and of course the point is you don't want to keep falling behind 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 runs.
Well, Urania has to find a way out. We've seen it first time through the lineup really trying to incorporate more of the slider and the changeup. Those are the couple of pitches that really have just disappeared. I think back to last year when he was at his best. That slider, hitters hit 187 against it all season long. So far this year, 444. I know it's a small sample size, but it tells you what he's dealing with right now. We talk about respecting pitches all the time, what a hitter thinks and what he sees, and if he's not respecting the changeup or the slider, he's sitting on one pitch.
Well, he started Winker out with the fastball in, goes right back to it, and it's 0-2.
I'll tell you what, Paul. Right now, what I've seen on the fastball, I'm sure he's still out on the secondary pitches, but he's had great life on his fastball tonight. 97 miles an hour, arm side run. It's been probably the best combination we've seen in the 3 starts. And he may never say this, you may never hear it again, but I'm telling you, the liner that he took off his knee had something to do with this.
I was back on opening day in the second inning. Kind of derailed the day a little bit. Misses high with the fastball. Didn't miss any time. All that we heard in between starts was that he was just fine, and he was right back out there 5 or so days later against the Mets. And looking to get through a bases loaded jam here. Again tries the inside corner but misses in. And it's 2-2. With the former MVP Joey Votto on deck.
I'd like to see him lead off the third.
You and me both, partner. Here it comes from Urania. Again fought off by Winker. Everything in this at bat has been inner third.
Well, he's trying to stay in on his hands, will allow him to get those arms extended. Now, Winker hasn't given you a pass at a fastball yet that says, okay, we need to change up the program here.
Now you'll start the merry-go-round. All the runners will get a head start on 3-2 and 2 outs. 8th pitch of this at-bat and 25th of the inning. Here it comes. Ripped and knocked down by Walker, up and flips to Urania. Great play over at first base by Neil Walker. It stays 1-0. 1-0 lead. Could have been a lot more. Neil Walker over there at first base coming up big defensively.
Oh, huge play to the back end. Jumps up, quick toss to Urania. That's 2 runs easy, potentially changing the course of this ball game for obvious reasons. I was just mentioning to you, Neil's had a great first 3 innings of this ball game. He's done great work. said the best at bat until that base hit right there to center field by Lewis Brinson. Neal had lined out. He had made a big play in the first inning, and he makes that play right there. But if you weren't watching, you wouldn't know.
Well, in a sense, new life for Brinson there, as it was 105 off the bat to end the inning, and Neil Walker making a nice play, and more solid exit velocity there for Lewis Brinson, who's now 10 for his last 31. But he was at the plate, had 2 strikes on him when Alfaro was caught stealing to end the second. So Brinson aboard to start the third, and that'll bring up Peter O'Brien. O'Brien takes a look at ball 1, something he did not do not even once on Sunday. It was 0 for 3. He swung at all 3 pitches that he saw on Sunday afternoon. That was on the heels of the home run, his first homer of the season on Saturday night. Three strikeouts in the first 2 innings for Castillo. Brinson goes. Votto's throw to second is in time as Peraza was there and in motion applied the tag to Brinson.
A late break by the middle infield from the Reds. Votto threw the ball with the assumption that Peraza was going to get there and did just at the last moment. Watch Joey Votto step off inside the lane. Really nobody at the bag. Just throws the ball to the bag, and you watch Peraza take it out of the air.
So 1 away as O'Brien takes a fastball outside. 2-0. Well, as we mentioned before, the Reds are not whole defensively right now, or offensively, I guess, for that matter. They do not have Scooter Gennett, such a big part of this offense the last couple of seasons, working his way back from an injury. So that's also shaken up the middle infield a little bit. One of the reasons why Dietrich is at second base today and Peraza over at short.
They're trying to get Dietrich's hot bat in the lineup, find any way they can. He's their hottest hitter currently.
Cut on and missed. And there are 4 strikeouts on the night for Castillo. Time for the Toyota Inside Look. Of course, the former Marlin, and this now his 3rd start against them. 16 and a third innings pitched, 11 strikeouts. And for Castillo, the story with him is the Marlins got him in a deal for Casey McGee in December of 2014. And Castillo, kind of that weird situation, I guess it was. Originally one of the prospects that went to Miami, from Miami to San Diego, rather, in the Andrew Cashner, Colin Ray trade, but the Marlins reacquired him from the Padres after Ray suffered a UCL tear in his first start with the Marlins, and then ultimately went to the Reds in a deal that, at that time, amongst others, brought Dan Straley to the Miami Marlins. Two balls and 2 strikes to his counterpart, Jose Urena. Inside, spins Urena around. That was the changeup. And it's 3-2.
That'll be interesting. This will be a pretty good tell where Castillo's at, where he's at, what he's thinking. Urena in the box, not much of a hitter.
He goes
with the fastball.
With the fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts. He's got 5 through 3. Marlins down a run.
Welcome back to Cincinnati. I have made my way over to section 116. I am renaming this the JT Riddle cheering session. This is a very special game for JT Riddle. He's from Frankfort, Kentucky, which is about 65 miles from Cincinnati, but this is the first time that he's had the chance to play at this ballpark. Even though he's been called up since 2017, all previous trips he had been sidelined with injuries. On top of being able to play in this ballpark for the first time, as you can see, I am surrounded by his family and friends. So guys, can I get some cheering for JT Riddle? Come on, let's hear it. It's good stuff right there, Paul.
That's awesome. Yeah, Jessica. Next time you got to go over there, you got to introduce yourself first. You just kind of creep over there and you're yelling at these people to scream and yell and they don't know why.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica. Nice to meet you guys.
Excellent, Jess. Thanks so much. As Joey Votto leads things off and takes one low. Yeah, 20 family and friends, 20 or so family and friends tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday afternoon, all here to cheer on JT Riddle, who's playing his first games here at Great American Ballpark. In 2017, he was hurt just prior to the Marlins coming to town, and last year was still working his way back, was not on the active roster when the Marlins came to Cincinnati. Votto out to center field. Brinson froze and is able to make the play.
Enjoy a memorable day out with the family this season at Marlins Park. Join us this weekend for Sunday Fun Days when kids can run the bases after the game and receive exclusive Marlins swag. You can start at just $10. Visit marlins.com/party.
This one into left field on a couple of hops in front of Granderson, and Matt Kemp has himself a base hit. And he gets some cheers from the crowd here. Obviously Kemp off to a bit of a slow start in his first year with the Reds, but he is aboard over at first with a 1-out knock. So it's Eugenio Suarez who had the RBI single back in the first inning. And it was thrown out in between first and second. Officially a single, an RBI, and then it goes 8-3, 6-3. But either way, his ribby has given the Reds a 1-0 lead. Rainey was able to work out of a bases loaded jam, 1 out in the previous inning, as this one is line of the gap in left center field. Kemp on his way to third, and Suarez has his second hit. Once again, the Reds have traffic on the bases against Urania.
Now, and more runners in scoring position. Lots of traffic in the second inning, more traffic here in the third for Urania. And this pitch up. I think that was a slider at the top of the zone, about 87 miles an hour. We talked about that just a minute ago, having issues with the consistency of his secondary pitches. He's come out trying to use them much more early in counts, but he's gotten himself in some trouble here in the third.
On the ground right side, past Castro. Schebler has an RBI on his way to third. Here is the throw. Got him. A strong throw from Peter O'Brien in right. And Suarez is thrown out for out number 2 in the inning.
Well, big play by O'Brien. The defense picking up Urania multiple times tonight. This time, right fielder O'Brien does a great job of getting to the baseball. I'll tell you what, Suarez wasn't 2 steps around second base. O'Brien already had the ball and was unloading to third. Great job putting himself in position. Throw a little bit high, but in plenty of time, Anderson able to catch and tag.
So it's 2 outs for Dietrich. Now, certainly scouts will do their advanced reports on what outfielders have, what kind of arms and all that sort of thing, but certainly not, you wouldn't imagine, much of a book on Peter O'Brien, right? I can't think of more than a handful of throws that he's made, certainly not with that sort of emphasis behind
Well, so much of it is about opportunity as well. I mean, he hasn't been at the major league level, and the ability, when I say opportunity, it's not just games started, it's guys are trying to run on you right there, and you saw it with Suarez. And he came around second base like he thought he was just going to cruise into third with no throw. Watch O'Brien does a nice job getting in position quickly, short release. He's a big guy. That's impressive. About a half a step to get his feet in line with third base and then unloads. And again, the throw not perfect, but in more than enough time for Anderson to adjust.
The Bonefish Grill fresh catch of the day. A big second out in this inning. Two balls and no strikes to Dietrich, who takes low, 3-0. Just looked it up, Holly. That was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Peter O'Brien.
From right field.
Yeah.
Well, everything was where it needed to be, and he's got that in the tank. You're going to throw some guys out.
A 4-pitch walk to Dietrich. That is 3 walks tonight for Eugenio.
And 4 consecutive Reds reach base safely. The Cincinnati Reds certainly looking to make the most of these 3 games against the Marlins. I was looking at their schedule. Boy, oh boy, they've got a tough road in front of them. They've got to go to Mexico after this series. They're only home. They just got home yesterday, a couple days ago. Off day, 3 games against the Marlins, and they're going to go play the St. Louis Cardinals in Mexico, and they're going to stay out west and play the Padres and Dodgers while they're at it. A 1-8 start. Not good, but it could get a lot worse if they don't find a way to turn things around quick. They're playing in a tough division, much like the Marlins. You look at the East, stacked with quality teams. That Central Division stacked as well.
A ball and a strike to Jose Peraza. That one foul wide of third. Well, we've seen this an awful lot, and thankfully, around Major League Baseball, that getting the game out of the United States. Saturday and Sunday, Monterrey, Mexico, which is about 1,500 miles from Cincinnati. The season, of course, opened up in Tokyo, Japan. The Red Sox and Yankees will play in London. There's a second series coming up in Monterrey, Mexico. So Major League Baseball doing an excellent job of spreading things out. Of course, there was also that Japan series, that All-Star series last year that Don Mattingly was the manager for.
And certainly very important to continue to grow the game internationally.
And you've got the World Baseball Classic, which is coming up in a couple of years. Team USA having won it for the first time back in 2017. Global game as this one is lifted out to left field for Curtis Granderson, and once again Eugenio works out of a little bit of trouble but gives up another run. 2-0. Another run in the bottom of the third. Could have been more if not for a good throw defensively from right field from Peter O'Brien. Time for T-Mobile's connection with the game as John Lester, unfortunately for him and the Cubs, he left his start yesterday, tight hamstring. Cubs won their opener, however, and Lester has been placed on the injured list. Rhys Hoskins, a couple of home runs. It's off to a terrific start this year for the Phillies, the team the Marlins will see when they get back home on Friday. And you also saw Edwin Encarnacion, not just 2 home runs in a game, but in the same inning, as the Mariners picked up another victory.
That's not even the first time he's done that. He's done that before.
Eddie want a cracker. That's his thing. Top of the order for the Marlins in the 4th. 2 balls and a strike to Curtis Granderson, then Brian Anderson and Neil Walker. Strike right on or off the edge. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Granderson a strikeout victim in the 1st. 1 of 5 to this point for Castillo. So when you've got a guy in Castillo who has that devastating changeup, and you've got 2 strikes on you, and you know pretty much that it's coming, you're just trying to fight off the fastball. And what's the mindset?
Well, you're trying to play the percentages, but you zone hit more than trying to get too specific on defending one or the other. Because again, he does throw so hard. I mean, but here's the thing: you play the percentages. And I asked, as I said with Mike Pagliarulo, I mean, Castillo is an oddity in the game. The only other person I really like in my mind that somebody who throws really hard and uses secondary pitches, I think of Lance McCullers and his breaking ball. He does that an awful lot with the Houston Astros. Where you think more traditionally, guys who throw 95, 96, it's about that, and it's getting to that changeup where he uses it so much. Anytime he's in trouble, he's going to it. If he thinks you're thinking fastball, he's going to it. And on top of it, he doesn't throw it for a strike very much. But to say to yourself that you're going to go up there and attempt to sit on it when a guy throws that hard is virtually impossible to do. So the mindset becomes pick a side of the plate, preferably up against him because he's got so much arm side run on both his fastball and his changeup, and try to get him up. Give yourself a chance by maybe going the other way, staying through that baseball. Even if it is swinging late to your point and just defending the zone with short, quick swings and that 2-strike approach. In a lot of ways, maybe you take the 2-strike approach up there from the beginning of the at-bat.
0-1 on Anderson, who also struck out in his first at-bat. He taps that one foul at the plate. 0-2. Well, Anderson struck out on the changeup, Granderson on the changeup, O'Brien on the changeup, so that's 3 more for Castillo. And since his debut, June 23rd of 2017, he's got the most strikeouts on changeups. Now 164. Kyle Hendricks next on the list at 152. A high chopper right side. Dietrich has the 1 play over to first, and now a word from FPL.
At FPL, we're making Florida's energy future even brighter.
So Granderson up to scoring position and 1 out, and that'll bring up Neil Walker. Walker lined out to center field to end things in the 1st inning. That was his 4th career at bat against Castillo. Does have a hit. That hit a long ball, so 1 for 4 in his career against the Reds righty.
Well, we mentioned right around the 1st or 2nd inning, we were talking about Castillo and obviously the changeup and the success in many people's candidate to break out this season. Last year had a 4.30 ERA, and I told you that he had given up 28 home runs. He has yet to give up an extra base this season, but that inconsistency that kind of plagued him last year, when you look at his ERA month to month, I mean, it tells you all you need to know. April, 7.23 ERA last year, and then he recovered and he's at a 3.48. You're saying, okay, he's moving right in the right direction. June, 6.75, blew back up again. July, 2.25. So he kind of did that all season long, finished on a high note, and that's the interesting point. We talked about his last start at Marlins Park being so dominant when the Marlins saw him late last year. He had an ERA in September of 1.09, and it appears that he's carrying it over into April this season. Through 2.5 starts, he looks like that Luis Castillo. So we give you a look at this pitch. I mean, you know everything about this situation. If you're Neil Walker, you're thinking, guess what? The changeup's coming. He's not coming at me with a fastball. It's a 2-1 count, and it's that valuable a pitch to Castillo that even when as a hitter you know that it's coming, he still gets a lot of swing and misses.
The 2-2 pitch to Walker. Dribbled up the first base line. Castillo the flip to Votto for out number 2. Granderson on his way to third. Join us tomorrow again, another early start time by about 20 minutes or a half hour or so on the air with the Marlins Live pregame show presented by your South Florida Honda dealers. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton have you covered from the studio. Trevor Richards and Tyler Malley are the 2 starting pitchers here at Great American Ballpark. Again on the air at 6. First pitch at 6:40. And I guess there's probably, for me, and correct me if I'm wrong, a couple of things that really make the changeup so good is because not only is it the separation between fastball and changeup in terms of the velocity, but also the depth of it. Something we'll continue to talk about when Castillo's back out in the 5th. 2-0 Reds. Miami Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees, that's transparency. By El Dorado Furniture, a different kind of furniture store for over 50 years. And by your South Florida Chevy dealers. The Roebling Suspension Bridge here in Cincinnati. A 2-0 deficit for the Marlins heading to the last of the 4th inning. First of a 3-game set. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Jessica Blaylock with you. Marlins trying to hand the Reds their 9th consecutive loss. Cincinnati won on opening day. They have not won since. Tucker Barnhart to lead things off. 8-9-1 against Urania here in inning number 4.
Yeah, it's been a rough go in the month of April the last 2 seasons. If you remember back to last season for the Reds, they lost 18 of 21. Yeah, that's not the way you want to begin a season. And that's why there is a sense, certainly not from the club, but just kind of around the city, is that, well, they are geared up. They brought all these new pieces in. Here we go. The pitching looks a little bit better. Maybe we'll compete in the division as Tucker Barnhart rips one to right field. O'Brien cuts it off, gets it in quick, and holds Barnhart to a single. But after the win on opening day and now the 8-game win streak, with those thoughts of last year still very fresh, it's a sense of here we go again. Castillo up. He squares to bunt. Corners rush in. And Castillo takes a called strike. 0-1. Strikeout back in the 2nd for Castillo. Urania's been working out of the stretch quite a bit. In the 1st inning, the 2nd batter reached, and that was on the 2nd pitch. A leadoff walk in the 2nd, as this one is tap foul. Well, he's only recorded 9 outs in this ball game. He's already given up 7 hits.
Yeah, and then the 2nd hitter in the 3rd. So yeah, he hasn't gone more than one hitter before getting into the stretch. Trying to dance through the raindrops tonight. 7 hits, 3 walks. And a strike. Castillo is down looking. 1 away. Don't miss it. Coming this fall on Fox, SmackDown Live moves to Friday nights. Holly time. Did you watch WrestleMania on Sunday? Did you see it?
I did not.
No?
Did not. I missed it.
Oh,
sorry.
It was good. It's always a spectacle.
Yeah.
Next year it's in Tampa.
You remind me when we get a little bit closer.
Next April. We can check it out.
Yeah. Remind me.
Like 82,000 there at MetLife. 82,000 people were there.
Were you there?
I was not. I was sitting literally in front of you on the plane. No, I was not there.
Yeah, that's right.
Always aware of your surroundings, aren't you?
That's right. I was working on my notes. That's what I was doing. I was getting ready for this game. That's what we do. As soon as that one game ends, you got to work on the next one.
Move right. You got to move on.
Keep moving.
That's right. And a check on Barnhart over at first. Winker 0 for 2 in this ball game. Made a bid for a hit that would have driven in 1, probably 2 in that second inning. But Neil Walker, a terrific play over at first base to knock it down, get up, flip to Urania, and get his starter out of a jam, further damage that is, in the second inning. Seven hits allowed already tonight for Urania. Opponents were hitting .364 against him coming in, so those numbers not improving much as Winker sends one deep to left field. Granderson is back, and that one is up and over the wall. It's a 2-run home run to the opposite field for Winker, and the Reds have doubled their lead.
Well, the Cincinnati Reds continue to put traffic on the bases and give themselves opportunities to score. We mentioned the Saturday and Sunday outburst by the Reds in Pittsburgh. That offense starting to wake up. Now fastball away. I was about ready to mention the inability to use the secondary pitches to get ahead or stay ahead of hitters or even put them away. I mean, he is once again trying to survive tonight merely on his fastball.
Now Don Mattingly out to talk with the home plate umpire Nick Lentz, and I wonder if they're going to see if there was any fan interference on that one, because it didn't get into the 10th row. It was kind of right over that wall, and certainly worth another look or at least a conversation on that. That fan in the Votto jersey talking with Curtis Granderson, who's shocking, having a laugh out there. I love Curtis.
Well, Grandy's probably asking him, hey, did you reach over the wall? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I didn't do that. I mean, even if he did, he'd say he didn't, right?
Right. I think at that angle, it looks like the fan was being honest, that he didn't necessarily reach. I think that one is...
Well, maybe Grandy's giving him the business for not catching it.
That could very well be it. That could very well be it. So it looks like they are going to take a closer look, chat things over with New York. So it was the third base umpire Scott Berry who made the call, and the crew chief Kerwin Danley. They will get on the headsets. A home run under review here in Cincinnati. And from the angles that we saw, I think it would be hard to overturn this as a home run.
Yeah, that's a good 4 or 5 feet, even though it's in the front row. Both those gentlemen standing up.
Did not take long at all.
Did he get the headsets on? I didn't even notice.
Maybe put it on speaker.
I mean, how did that conversation go?
Homer
from New York, you're good.
Got
Move
it.
back to the game. Okay. That may be the shortest of all time. Was that 7 seconds?
All right, so that call confirmed as a home run, and now it's Joey Votto who takes low. Votto had a double off the base of the left field wall back in the first, lined out in the third. And that home run for Winker, just the second home run by Reds outfielders this year. And the team that came into this ball game last in Major League Baseball in average on base percentage and runs. Their offense has woken up a bit. 4 runs and 8 hits to go along with 3 walks that also help the on base percentage. And we're only through 3 1/3 for the starter Urania. That one tapped foul.
Well, as we've talked about in the first 2 starts this season, complications with the secondary pitches for Urania. 7 changeups in tonight's ball game. He's only been able to pick up 1 strike. 13 sliders, 5 strikes, so a few more, and there could be some swings in there. But the point is that Reds hitters aren't paying too much mind to those secondary pitches. They're basically looking for the fastball and waiting to get something to hit.
Payoff pitch on the way to Votto. A called strike 3. Joey is not going to love the call. Few in baseball know their strike zone and the strike zone better than Votto.
Well, Joey Votto led the National League in on-base percentage for the 7th time last season. Walks are a big part of that. And to your point, knows the strike zone as well as anyone. Marlins will say thank you very much and move along.
Goodness, I saw I might have been, I don't want to give credit incorrectly, so I'll look it up and properly credit it later. But I saw something, a heat map of Joey Votto. So they've got like the black outline box and the heat map in there of what he swings at, and very little red was outside that box. Like if it's not in the strike zone, he ain't swinging the bat.
Incredibly disciplined hitter to the point where to the point where he's been attacked for his approach as a middle of the lineup bat. It's that mindset that many people, years ago when there was the idea that a 3-hitter is supposed to be more active, needs to be swinging the bat a little bit more, while he was busy, drawing 145 walks a season, if you know what I mean. Questioning that approach, and Joey has not deviated from that ever. He says, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is what I will be. I'm going to be a patient hitter. I will swing at strikes, and I'm not changing my game plan.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm with you, and I totally get it. I'm asking this as a devil's advocate. If he was not making $225 million over 10 years, if he was on a 5-year deal at $55 million, do you think all the attention would still be there? Like, how much is the contract play into it all? Hold that thought, would you please? Because Andy's going to make a strong throw across the diamond and end this inning, Holly. Hold that thought. 4-0. Castillo now has a 4-run lead to work with after the Winker home run to the opposite field. Top 5 as Jorge Alfaro will lead things off, then JT Riddle and Lewis Brinson. 5 strikeouts to this point for Castillo. Marlins have really had a tough time getting much going. 1-2-3 in the first, and essentially 1-2-3. There was an error and a caught stealing in there in the second inning. Another couple of strikeouts in the third. He worked around a leadoff walk in the fourth. Alfaro reached on an error back in the second. That's a 2-0 swing. But Castillo gets 95 past Alfaro, and it's 2-1. Alfaro lifts one out to center field. Schebler back in front of the track to make the catch, and there's one out in the 5th inning. Last half inning that Castillo was out there, I was talking about how difficult it must be for this guy to hit, not just because of the separation fastball and changeup in terms of the velocity, but also where it starts. Almost, I pictured in my head, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, like a knuckleballer, right? If it's high, let it fly. If it's low, let it go. And when it starts kind of belt high or thigh high, you're thinking maybe there's a chance. And next thing you know, it's in the dirt. It disappears.
Yeah, and here's the really tough part about it, as I tried to explain at the beginning of the ball game, what that approach, what you want it to be in letting it get deep. The knuckleball is very similar. So the hitting box, you see it as we show it to you on the television, where the hitter kind of takes that swing and where the ball ends up. But for a hitter, it's actually out in front. His mind says, okay, this ball's going to be in the zone. I need to start my swing, and we're thinking out in front. It's about another box out in front of what you see at home. But against the knuckleballer, you try to reverse that idea. The idea is, to your point, see it high, let it fly. But you also want to say to yourself, because the knuckleball doesn't have the velocity, that you want to hit it a box deeper, meaning let the ball get over the plate. So, to your point on Castillo, what's so difficult is because you're right about that. Even Mike Pagliarulo mentioned it to me today. I want my guys to let this ball get as deep as they possibly can, try to think middle of the field the other way, swing late, shorten up, do what you've got to do to kind of have that, maybe a small ball approach or an off-field approach against the guy, as well as get the ball up. But here's the problem. Knuckleballers, they throw the knuckleball at 68 miles an hour. And, you see another change-up for a strikeout from Castillo, JT Riddle. Even if they do try to throw a fastball in there, most of them are throwing 77 to 81 miles an hour.
Right,
guess what? You still got
that.
Plenty of time to react to that. The point being, this young man throws 96. Now, I know he doesn't throw an awful lot of strikes with his fastball, but he does throw enough to get the attention of the hitter, and certainly the hitter still has that in the back of his mind. Very difficult to tell a hitter to back off, 96 miles an hour and go up there and sit on a changeup. But here's the thing, to Castillo's defense in this conversation, and his career has proven this out, he's stubborn as a mule. And that's a good thing for him. And what I mean by that is we've seen him even in this ball game go through a couple of stretches where he's thrown 3 changeups in a row for a ball. He's not like, okay, I've lost it, I need to go in a different direction. He stays with it. He keeps throwing the changeup. He'll mix in a few more fastballs, as you see right there at 95 miles an hour squarely in the zone, but always wants to get back to that changeup.
Well, he's got terrific confidence in it. He even said after his last start it's his best pitch, and he's got to throw it in order to get hitters out. Brinson with a fly ball out to left center field. Kemp is there, but he'll give way to Schebler. And 5 scoreless innings in the books for Castillo.
Where it is in Twitter and email Tuesday. Tonight's hashtag is baseball150 because we are celebrating 150 years of baseball. Did you know that the first ever professional baseball team was founded here in Cincinnati? They were named the Red Stockings. Their inaugural season was 1869. The team had 10 salaried players, and guess what? Those guys were pretty good. They went 67-0 in their first season. It is the only season in professional baseball where a team went undefeated. Keep those tweets and emails coming using that hashtag baseball150. Tweets can go to @FoxMarlins. Your emails can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com. Guys,
67-0.
Yeah, that's not bad, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, they were the first pro ball team. Were they the only one that year? I mean, my goodness. This one on the ground to the shortstop side of the second base bag, but it's Castro to make the play, and Suarez is retired. So yeah, established in 1869, and all throughout the year the Cincinnati Reds will be wearing some different throwback uniforms, which will be pretty cool. Some of the retired numbers here in Cincinnati as well. A revamped Hall of Fame outside the ballpark. And this is a tremendous baseball city with a lot of history.
Now they're just waiting for the winning to come back. I think that's it. I think of their history, you're right. It's been a while. It's a tough division to compete in. The Cardinals and the Cubs. And the Cubs have figured it out. They've spent some money, and the Brewers are spending money, and they figured it out. They're contending, and the Pirates always seem to be lurking. I mean, there's just no rest for the weary.
Yeah, 75-76, the Big Red Machine. Barry Larkin led the charge to a world title in 1990. And certainly there was hope, certainly in Cincinnati. I don't know about nationally that this team would be a World Series contender in 2019, but that there was movement in the right direction, that they had gotten some big money off the books in the last couple of seasons. I know Homer Bailey's deal always gets a lot of attention, over $100 million, and he was part of that deal between the Reds and the Dodgers. Went off to L.A. Don't think he's on their roster now either, right? I think the Dodgers cut him loose. 3-1 now to Schebler. Out to center. Brinson for out number 2. And just looking at the NL Central standings at the moment, a week or so in, the Reds, listen, they'd like to be a lot better than 1-8. I get it. But really the Brewers are the only ones that have, it sounds foolish to say pulled away from the pack, but at least gotten off to a good start. They're 8-3. And the Pirates are 5-4. The Cardinals are 5-5. The Cubs are 3-7. So it's there's still lots and lots of time for the Reds to turn it around if they're going to kind of meet the expectations.
Well, you also have to, I mean, if you believe what I believe about like the National League East, do you think the wild card's coming out of this division? I'm not completely convinced that's necessarily going to be the case. So you better be looking at the top spot. And all it takes is one team to run.
Dietrich, pop up and a walk tonight. His first game against his former club. He's from Ohio, the Cleveland area, so something of a homecoming for Dietrich, who wasted no time on opening day. A pinch hit 3-run home run.
You know, made this Reds ball club as a non-roster invitee to spring training. He's already had some big moments, as you mentioned.
Well, he had that 3-run home run on opening day, and you put that with his other RBIs, and coming into tonight, had driven in 8 of the Reds' 21 runs scored this year.
Yeah, all he has is multi-run homers.
Racking up the ribbies.
Well, I mean, most hitters don't do that. That's the kind of the point. Most guys, it's usually a high percentage of solo shots mixed in with a few 2- and 3-run homers, occasional grand slam. Dietz is off and running. He's got himself 2 2-run homers and a 3-run homer already.
Right side, shallow right field. Anderson's back there in the shift, and they get Dietrich. It's a 1-2-3 fifth for Urania. Welcome back. Top of the 6th inning. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Jessica Blaylock with you. First of a 3-game series between the Marlins and the Reds. Peter O'Brien to lead things off. You saw Rosell Herrera in the on-deck circle. That would be Jose Urania's spot. And then Curtis Granderson up third. But after 5 innings rather of work for Urania, that might be it, as Wei-In Chen has been loosening the last inning or so down there for the Marlins. He may get the 6th. Luis Castillo with 6 strikeouts through the first 5 innings. And 17 over the course of his first 2 starts. And a strike to O'Brien. I think it's worth pointing out, I assume that we've got some kids playing or watching who, play youth baseball. And O'Brien dribbles one up to third base line. Castillo's throw not in time, and O'Brien beats it out. And the point I was going to make was that O'Brien, he had the home run the other day, but maybe not swinging the bat yet like we know that he can, but still able to impact the game early with some defense.
Hustling out of the box. getting this inning started right. I was just sitting here pondering, Castillo has had the kind of start to his season where I know he has not dealt with too much traffic on the bases. If the Marlins can get a runner or two on, maybe put some pressure on Castillo, see where it goes. Maybe the pressure leads to some mistakes out over the plate. He has not had to worry about much tonight. He's only had one inning in which he's actually had a base runner on, and he saw 4 hitters.
So Herrera bats for Urania. Herrera 5 for 27 on the season. Was 0 for 5 in the series in Atlanta. Takes the ball outside, 2-0. Now this is certainly worth monitoring. It has come from a multitude of different guys, but pinch hitters for the Marlins have been very productive in the early going.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job of coming off the bench ready to hit. Really probably no bigger, at least in the moment, than Granderson's pinch hit on Sunday. It's been a big, you hate to say it this way, but it really has been a big part of their offense, and only because they've been so very good. They've got 3 pinch home runs already.
Eight for 18, those 3 homers, 4 RBIs, 2 doubles. They lead the major leagues in pinch hits. But Herrera looks at strike 2.
Now, regardless of the outcome of this at bat, that was a very good take. That 3-1 pitch, a pitcher's pitch, 96 miles an hour on that outside edge. He would not have done much with that.
On the ground to short. That's Peraza. And it's a double play to erase the leadoff runner, Peter O'Brien.
Well, unfortunately, right to Peraza at short, only a couple of steps away from the second base bag. Throw across the diamond. Castillo pretty good at getting the ball on the ground when he needs to, does there. Wipes out O'Brien.
8th double play turn this year by the Cincinnati Reds, and that'll flip the lineup card over to Curtis Granderson. And strike at the top of the zone. Granderson a walk and a strikeout tonight. There's the defensive alignment as Dietrich moves out to left field, then Kemp, Schebler, and Winker. So 3 infielders and 4 outfielders against Curtis Granderson.
I don't see this too often in today's game, but clearly playing the percentages. We've told you about Curtis Granderson and his knack for pulling the baseball.
And now look at where they have moved Suarez. He's on the second base side of the bag.
Yeah, you've got to defend the strike zone differently. 2 strikes.
I mean, outside of the pitcher, the nearest defender on the left side of the field is Dietrich, and he's 250 feet away.
It really is amazing to look at, right? Today's game. But I mean, part of this, as I've said many times, remember, you can play the defensive shifts any way you want. You can throw 4 outfielders out to put everybody on the right side. You got to pitch to it.
Yep.
I mean, if he makes a mistake out over the plate and Curtis Granderson, gets something he can handle, he could very easily go the other way.
And it didn't matter where the defenders were there. Another strikeout for Castillo. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth, and Jessica Blaylock with you. It's the Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. That's it for Jose Urania, and Wei-Yin Chen will come into the ball game. So the final line on Urania tonight is 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. And now Chen into his 3rd game of the year. Jose Peraza to lead things off, and he takes the ball outside.
A couple of innings for Chen. 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Fastball curve, slider change.
Grounded up the middle. Riddle behind the bag. Off balance throw is a bit high. And it goes off the netting in front of the Reds dugout. Peraza will reach base to begin the inning.
You know, Peraza, good speed out of the box, hustling all the way, puts pressure on Riddle. Make a strong throw. That's kind of what I thought. They might give him a hit on this one. This was not an easy play because of Peraza hustling down the line. JT cutting up the middle behind the second base bag. High throw. I'm not sure he necessarily gets him. The perfect throw might have.
That'll bring up Tucker Barnhart. Intentionally walked in the second. Singled and scored on the home run in the fourth.
It's still pretty early, but Barnhart off to a good start offensively. As I mentioned, won a Gold Glove in 2017. He's been applauded for his defensive work throughout his young career. He's had some moments where he's been a lot better with the bat. A couple of years ago had a pretty decent season, but last year a bit of a down year.
Well, you mentioned that Gold Glove in 2017. Johnny Edwards and 10-time Gold Glove winner Johnny Bench, the only other Reds catchers to win a Gold Glove. 10 of them for Johnny Bench. 10. Were there other catchers in the National League in the 70s? Maybe not.
Not as good as Johnny.
Not as good as Johnny Bench. There's a strike, 2-2.
Well, this may be the real first opportunity for Chen to get some work. Marlins down 4. There's a good chance I think this might be more than an inning for Chen tonight if he is good.
Well, we'll all find out how the season plays out for Wei and Chen over the course of the summer. And I think that probably over the 162 games he'll be more than just the mop-up long man. I would think that with the youth that they've got in the rotation and some innings limits, numbers of which for each guy I don't think we've really heard when each guy would get shut down or slowed down or whatever, but I would venture to guess that Chen, without having heard definitively, gets a handful of starts along the way.
Well, and he has to kind of work towards that. That's why, you know, in a game like this, if the Marlins offense doesn't start to peck away at that Reds lead, you know, you may see Chen get an inning or two tonight.
But high to Barnhart, and there are 2 on.
Get ready for another Saturday giveaway. Join us on Saturday, April 13th, when the Marlins take on the Phillies. The first 10,000 fans will receive a Marlins bucket hat courtesy of Ocean Bank. Visit marlins.com/promotions to get your tickets today. Well, Paul, you know, through 10 games, Marlins bullpen's been absolutely outstanding this year. Certainly worth noting, and that's a good time to mention it as we watch Chen try to work through this inning. 3.44 ERA, second best in the National League. Batting average against, strikeouts, all top 5. Only allowed 2 home runs. Second fewest in the National League as well. So they did just an absolutely fantastic job keeping the Marlins in ball games.
That one bunted foul, 0-2. No, you're right, and there have been guys that, one that jumps off the page is Nick Anderson, as when he comes in it's been tons of strikeouts. He's got what, multiple strikeouts in all of his appearances outside of the, I think, opening day. When would he work an inning or a third of an inning? So bottom line is there's a lot of weapons for Don Mattingly down there. Being able to use them in different spots But here the role for Chen is to get outs as Alfaro throws down to second. Castillo retired on the strikeout. And there's one away in the inning.
You mentioned Nick Anderson. It goes something like this. Tell me if you've heard of these guys. Josh Hader, 13 punch outs.
Yeah.
Kirby Yates got 11.
Yeah.
Nick Anderson's got 10. That's right. Third in the National League. He's had an impressive start to his career.
A 2-run home run back in the 4th inning for Winker to the opposite field into the first row over Curtis Granderson's head. A 2-run home run that turned a 2-0 deficit into a 4-0 deficit. Not sure if the backswing may have gotten Alfaro there or not. Another look. Sure did.
It sure did, right on top of the head. My goodness.
Two on, 1 out in the 6th. And that one gets away from Alfaro. Both runners will move up. So Peraza to third, Barnhart to second.
Well, his target right down the middle of the plate, that low and in.
Be a pass ball for Alfaro. Marlins have 3 on the right side. Everybody even with the bag or even further in, and that one hit sharply past Castro, and now it gets by O'Brien in right field. 2 runs are going to score, and Winker on his way to second. That ball just didn't want to be stopped by anybody. My goodness.
Deflected on the infield and by your right fielder. He's going to score 2 more runs for the Reds. Hard hit underneath the glove of Castro. Maybe got a little bit of leather on it. To me, like O'Brien may have put the glove down. Yeah, put it down late, almost as if he was anticipating, picking it off the grass a little bit farther out in front. Late getting the glove down, and it gets by him.
And now it's Joey Votto. And Votto is hit by a pitch. And flips it right back to Wei-Yin Chen. Very polite.
Certainly is, but it's that, that moment in time where you hold your breath, not because Joey just got hit, but you just don't know what's going on and what's he going to do. Thank you very much. You're right. Just flips it back to Wei-Yin. You get a little nervous right here, right? He's moving in the wrong direction. You're like, uh-oh, where's this going? He's got a bat in his hand, too, by the way.
Yeah.
It all ends well enough. Well, more trouble here in the 6th.
Just for bookkeeping, it's a single and an RBI with an E9. So Winker's got himself 3 RBIs tonight. Doesn't get credit for the RBI in that second run scoring. He's at second, and Votto at first for Matt Kemp.
No bullpen activity for the Marlins, so this is Chen's inning.
We talked a little bit earlier this half inning about Johnny Bench. Another Hall of Famer's name has been brought up today with Jacob deGrom on the mound as Kemp takes a strike on the outside corner. So 26 consecutive quality starts for Jacob deGrom, even with Bob Gibson. deGrom is on the mound right now. He has given up a run. That'll be something to follow on the doorstep of a Major league record. He's pitched 2 innings and given up a run. As Kemp drives one out to right, O'Brien watches this one go. A 3-run home run for Matt Kemp.
Number 281 in Matt Kemp's career versus a Red. Well, fair to say the Reds offense is awake.
Yes, they have turned the tide tonight.
This fastball away, driven away. You can almost see it in Matt Kemp's eyes, the approach. Earlier in the ball game, had a base hit to left. He was looking away for a fastball and trying to drive it out to right, and did just that. A lot of happy hitters in the Cincinnati Reds dugout tonight. It's been a pretty quiet place here in the first week and a half.
That'll bring up Eugenio Suarez. So for Matt Kemp, adding to his career homer numbers, as Holly mentioned, 281. He's one of 3 active big leaguers with at least 250 home runs and 150 stolen bases. Ryan Braun and Curtis Granderson on that list as well.
And Curtis got 332 home runs, 153 stolen bases.
It's a called strike. It's 91 past Suarez, and it's 2-2. Right back to the netting, and Schebler makes the play in the on-deck circle. StatCast AI powered by AWS, the distribution of balls in play on the ground, on the infield off the bat of Suarez. That is why you see Anderson, Riddle, and Castro on the third base side of second. And Neil Walker, the lone Marlin, on the right side. In the air out to left field. Granderson back at the wall, and another home run for the Reds. Suarez goes back-to-back with Kemp. And it's 10-0 Reds.
Well, much of our conversation last year, Paul, when it came to Chen, was his ability to pitch so well at Marlins Park, but his struggles on the road. It's hard not to bring it up tonight, as much as I don't want to, but we watch this inning, and where so many of these pitches are, this is a 6-run inning.
Just one of those for Chen, and anybody who's watched the game. Now this one drilled out to left, and the Reds have gone back to back to back. Now Dietrich cuts and misses. Well, I mentioned it earlier, the Reds had one home run from their outfielders before tonight. And they have 3 home runs from their outfielders in this game. One and two to Dietrich. Beats him upstairs, and that is out number 2.
Chang climbs up top of the strike zone, just a little bit above at 92 miles an hour. Now Peraza started this all, an infield single. The Reds have now batted around. Peraza probably expected to get the bulk of his starts at second base while Scooter Gennett's out. He's going to be playing every day regardless of where he's at on the infield. Quite an offensive force last season. Only player in the National League with 182 hits, 31 doubles, 14 homers, and 23 stolen bases. He can do it all. We saw the speed his last at bat.
The 0-2 pitch is in the dirt, blocked by Alfaro. That one high. Again, it's a Twitter and email Tuesday. I'll be sure to get to those when there's not 2 strikes and 2 outs. But there's a number of them with the hashtag baseball150. And that's how you can find us. Twitter at Fox Marlins. FoxMarlins@gmail.com. Again, use the hashtag baseball150. Just hear from you on some of your favorite moments in your baseball fandom, down the left field line and into the seats. Now, you've also noticed, I'm sure, throughout the first week or so, you see on Wei-Yin Chen, and that's a different patch. That's a Cincinnati Red Stockings 150 patch, because they've been around for all 150. But the MLB 150 patches are on the sleeves of all the uniforms.
Well, should be no surprise. Peraza putting together a lengthy at bat against Shen. Led the National League in plate appearances per strikeout, 9.1. Contact hitter, one of the best in the National League.
.40 pitches in the inning for Wei-Yin Chen. This is the 10th batter that he's faced. He's given up 3 home runs, and yet he strikes out the side. So one of those weird innings. Through 6 in Cincinnati for the first of a 3-game series, and then back home for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yes, the Colores in action when Miami returns home to face those Phillies April 12th through the 14th. Join us for more giveaways, fireworks, ticket specials, good times. Ballpark. Start at just $10. Visit marlins.com/tickets for more information. Quite an offense, I'll tell you, that Philadelphia Phillies team. We talked about Hoskins hitting 2 home runs and Harper, and my goodness.
Yeah, they got 6 runs tonight. They already have 6
came up short, it seems like.
Well, it's only the 5th.
Oh, my bad.
Those are the changes. Kyle Farmer into the game at second, which moves Dietrich over to first. Joey Votto's night is complete. And now Brian Anderson will lead things off. Takes a fastball upstairs from Castillo. A 7-run bottom of the 6th has opened things up, as Castillo showing no ill effects from a long layoff, coming right back, mid-90s fastballs out of the gates here in the 7th. That one low to BA. All right, so talking about the Twitter email Tuesdays, we've got some here. We'll read one after this 2-1 pitch from Teddy in Coral Springs. Teddy, thanks for chiming in. Favorite moment all time was Counsell scoring the winning run in '97. Holly, what was your favorite all-time baseball memory?
Mobbing the mound in Game 6 in 2003. I mean, listen, there's personal moments. There's, you couple some big hits in there that I had, obviously individually, that led to some wins. But I think on the collective, high fly ball to right, just the collective, winning nature. For me, so much about our 03 season was just the development of our team. We got off to a horrible start, essentially got our manager fired. I mean, we recovered, we played well, we really came together as a unit. There's a lot of great moments. I think of the NLCS, I mean, goodness, it's been talked about, still talked about so regularly, just all the moments in there, obviously Bartman and how that's all woven together. But when we finally did it, we went into 3 playoff series in which we were no shot. You guys have no shot against the Giants. You got no shot against the mighty Cubs, and you're definitely not taking down the Yankees. That particular season was a special one.
1-0 to Neil Walker. All right, now I'll put you on the spot because that was kind of a layup for you.
Okay.
How about as a kid?
Ooh, as a kid? I think when the Philadelphia Phillies won the World Series, I think it was
80.
80, yeah. I remember Tug McGraw on the mound. My second son's name is Tug. When he fell to his knees, it's just, everything that went into it. I mean, that's what really just got me as a fan of the game of baseball, which at the time I was playing as a kid, and the love affair really started. The way they went about their business, the way they competed, it was the hometown team. They were winning. I was, gathering, understanding. I was still very young. But the love started then. I mean, there were times where, in my generation, you used to run home from school when the early playoff games would come on.
Right.
And they would be on TV, but again, we still weren't getting, just massive coverage. You would get your local coverage, but you didn't have a really good idea of what was going on, say, around the nation. And you could run home from school, and I remember some of the games out west would essentially be a day game, and they would be on, and I meant, like, they were special days to me. Wow, were they cool. Baseball's on. It's Friday afternoon, and there's a playoff game on TV right now, and that's. I guess when you couldn't see it as much, you just craved it more.
0-1 to Starlin Castro after Castillo's 8th strikeout of the game. I mean, you played in the World Series, of course. Well, would you like to see day World Series, or at least mid-afternoon, 4 o'clock starts in the World Series, or by that point is it too important to kind of stay on the schedule?
I think it's really would be a cool thing as you see a ground ball to the right side, but I just don't think it's TV's going to allow us. Prime time's way too important.
Prime time pitcher tonight, Castillo, 7th inning stretch.
That's the moment I'm talking about. There you go. Little tag, ball's in his glove, it's over. Stormed the field from the dugout, and well, jump on Josh Beckett a lot. Over and over and over again.
Now, you obviously played a lot of baseball. Had you won a championship of any point, a state championship in high school or something like that? It was like the first time tasting victory like that.
Well, I had tasted it in AAA. I mean, we won the PCL championship. Of course, that's not the major level. Base hit to right for Barnhart. Continues his hot hitting. He's going to go for 2.
big night for Barnhart as O'Brien's throw from right is right on the money, but not in time. I didn't even think that would be close. And Barnhart has reached all 4 times, 2 walks, single in this double.
Yeah, gets jammed just a bit, but going the other way. To shoot it down into the right field corner. Well, O'Brien does a nice job of getting himself over there. Quentin O'Brien picks it up and fires a strike into second, right on the money. Ooh, that was a lot closer. It's got to be close. Greg Gibson kind of tucking in behind right there. Even had a little delay of game. It wasn't the slow-mo replay that we were giving you. Hesitated just a bit, but the right call.
So now Michael Lorenzen will hit for Luis Castillo. Castillo's impressive night is done as he finishes with 8 strikeouts. Lorenzen takes a big hack, and he can too. He is a pitcher that can hit. 6 homers, 18 RBIs. He's 0 for 1 thus far this season. But a guy who, in fact, if you look at the Reds game notes, is listed under Reds batters because they're trying to mix him in a little bit as Major League Baseball is trying to implement some rules, some qualifiers, if you will, to have position players maybe not pitch as much, and pitchers kind of becoming, I guess it goes both ways too, but becoming two-way players. And Lorenzen, you know, if you ask around or read up on the Reds, he might be their most athletic, best center fielder. That's crazy.
He's played center field already. I believe this is his first pinch hit at bat of the season. Now, he came into the game as a pinch runner, stayed in the game as a center fielder, and hit. I don't believe he has pinch hit yet, so he's kind of checking off all the boxes.
Well, he does, not this year, but he does have a pinch hit grand slam.
That doesn't surprise me.
He had one last year.
Yeah. Well, I think this is really where the conversation started to pick up, was the season he had last year, where, you know, everybody in baseball says, oh, okay, you're a pitcher who can hit a little bit, you can swing the bat, now we're going to actually pitch to you. And he still started to, you know, continue to get hits and produce a little bit more. So that's where the conversation started. But you remember it was a couple years ago, right? All Arrieta's hitting homers, Bumgarner's hitting them. Everybody's like, yeah, we need to do the pitcher home run derby at the All-Star game. And I'm not taking anything away, but it's like, you know, usually when you hear that, it's like, oh, okay, well then the pitchers themselves start to pitch to these guys a little bit more, and you realize it gets a little tougher. He, on the other hand, has continued to hit.
See a 3-2 pitch from Wei-Yin Chen.
He's got the elbow pad, batting gloves. I mean, he's ready to go. Shin guard. He's got a shin guard on.
He means the dude
he's
means
got a
business.
shin guard on.
He means business. And a good take. And now a word from FPL.
At FPL, we're making Florida's energy future even brighter.
So 2 on for Winker. So again, Lorenzen kind of working his way toward that official two-way player status. And we've seen and heard a lot of that. He's probably at the forefront of it at the major league level now. But the Reds, one of their top prospects, Hunter Green, they hope can be one of those two-way players in the future. They just announced today that Hunter Green had successful Tommy John surgery, so expect him, you know, back in 12, 15, 16 months, something like that. Also, the Rays, they drafted a kid from Louisville, I believe it was, Brendan McKay, a few years ago to be a two-way player. And now with the way that, you know, roster rules and versatility being so important for players, I mean, it makes sense. It's important if you could play short and second and third, maybe a little outfield. That's great. Now you got guys that can pitch and hit and play outfield and do everything else, that's a whole other level of utility player.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if it develops the way that you're implying, just based on
Shohei Ohtani.
Well,
kind of forgot about him.
Right, but remember what he does. I mean, in what he's experiencing currently. I mean, to that point. I mean, we're talking, high-level pitcher on the mound who's got an incredibly high ceiling. Obviously, can swing the bat as well, but when he hits, generally we're talking DH.
Winker lines one out to center. Brinson is there. And that's out number 1.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to me if you're kind of like thinking along the lines of what we see in youth baseball today, where you call your shortstop in to go 4 innings.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we're ever going to get to that point, but I do see and certainly appreciate what these young men can do when it comes to doing multiple things. I think it's a great idea as long as your guys can survive these things and organizations figure out the right way to use them.
Kyle Farmer to get the at-bat here. He entered the game at second base, but essentially in there for Joey Votto. There's a strike. Again, a Twitter and email Tuesday using the hashtag baseball150. Got one from Steve in Del Rey coming up. My favorite player growing up was Ken Griffey Jr., says Steve. Cool seeing his highlights earlier. You guys talk about Dietrich. Who were your favorite players when you were young?
Mine?
Yeah,
sure. I loved Andy Van Slyke. Now, I related with Andy Van Slyke because he was an outfielder. He was left-handed and he could hit, and he was awesome. I loved him. He was the best. Now, locally, Philadelphia Phillies, I loved Mike Schmidt. I mean, Michael Jack. He had the nickname. He had the swag. He did it all. He was the coolest guy I knew. I mean, he was great. That was, and he was a mainstay. I mean, that's how you identified with him. The swing and a little wiggle in his bat. Now, I didn't relate to him as a baseball player. He was a right-handed power hitting third baseman, and I'm nowhere near that. In any way. So I'm not even an infielder. I was an outfielder. I'm left-handed.
Kyle Farmer with a drive out to left, and a 3-run home run.
Well, the Cincinnati Reds have scored their second touchdown in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, it has just been one of those nights, and I think that for the Reds, a team that one more look at the home run, went up and got that one. And this was a team that was just waiting to bust out.
Hell, they scored 10 runs in their last 2 ball games before today, then an off day, then you show up today and you say, well, the offense is starting to come around. 14 runs today, 21 runs total in their first 9 ball games. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you and I talked about it multiple times today, kind of coming into this situation, in tonight's ball game, hoping Eugenio would bounce back and able to get the offense on, in gear and going well. Marlins coming in, played very well against the Cincinnati Reds. 5 of 7 last year.
And a former Cincinnati Red and former Marlin and current Marlin, Austin Bryce, is up in their bullpen. That'll bring up Matt Kemp. Kemp hit the first of 3 consecutive home runs for the Reds back in the 6th. It was his first homer as a member of the Cincinnati Reds. Out to right field, sends O'Brien back. He'll have room a couple of steps in front of the wall. Eugenio Suarez, a 3-hit night, including a home run in the 6th. and takes the ball outside. A 2-2 pitch on the way to Suarez, able to hold up at the moment. Yes, they will check. No swing, so 3-2. Fouled straight back. Holly, the run, by the way, is over. Told you that we would keep you posted on Jacob deGrom. He had tied Bob Gibson, 26 consecutive quality starts. So that's 3 earned runs or less over 6. The Minnesota Twins have scored 5 runs on Jacob deGrom in 3 innings of work.
Now they're going to get about 29 emails from the other teams in well, I guess it would be 28 now that I think about it. But how did you do it?
How did you do it? To right field, coming in is O'Brien. He'll make the catch. And the inning is over, but 3 more in the inning. Reds in front. It is all Reds tonight in the opener of this 3-game series. Michael Lorenzen, who got the at-bat, will stay in and pitch. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Discover gold with the new $15 million Gold Rush Special Edition scratch-off, featuring over $880 million in cash prizes. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. 5th game that he has pitched in this season. And he will face Alfaro, Riddle, and Brinson, who are due up, and try to, I imagine, follow up the night for Castillo. 7 innings, 2 hits, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. As Castillo was as advertised tonight.
There's no doubt about it. Castillo showed up, kept his story moving in the right direction. Now 3rd start here at Great American Ballpark and putting up zeros. Still has not allowed an extra base hit on the season. That's 3 games. For Lorenzen, 4.50 ERA, as you mentioned, pitching in his 5th game. He's given up a few hits, though. Keep an eye on that. See if the Marlins offense can get going tonight.
As we've been reminding you throughout the telecast, it's a Twitter and email Tuesday using the hashtag Baseball150. This one not necessarily about the history of baseball over the last century and a half, but rather about the man at the plate right now, Jorge Alfaro, from Mike M. I keep reading about and hearing about Alfaro's, quote, stupid pop. Who do you guys remember who had stupid pop? Alfaro strikes out for the first out. Stupid pop. That's like on a different level of power.
I'm talking about a different sound in batting practice.
Yeah.
You know, Giancarlo Stanton, things like that. I mean, the guy that impressed me the most, you know, use the word stupid pop, and it can mean a lot of different things. It can be how far does the guy hit the ball, what kind of ball does he hit, does it come off the bat really, really, harder than everybody else. Like, I still think of Piazza. I had a moment early in my career where I watched Mike take a 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Curt Schilling. It was at his eyes, and he hit it into the blue seats at Dodger Stadium the other way. Yeah, right center field. Now, anybody who knew Mike's career, Mike had a tremendous amount of power up the middle into right center. That's what Alfaro essentially is trying to become. He's encouraged by the organization. Pags and Don Mattingly have been, very forthright in saying, listen, man, you've got so much power the other way. Stay inside the baseball. You're going to really, this could work out for you if you figure this out. He's already got 3 home runs the other way. But Piazza used to do it all the time. We called it that as, when we'd see it. There's other guys who, kind of had the traditional power, may have hit 300, 400 home runs. I think of, in fact, we were talking about him earlier today. Adam Dunn had stupid pop. I mean, he could hit balls to the moon. I was telling somebody, I would look at his bat and most guys, they have about 3 or 4 inches where they consistently hit the baseball, and you watch them. It's kind of like a golfer in their golf club. You can hit that spot over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah. Now Dunner, he's a big dude. His strike zone's a lot bigger than everybody else's. His ball marks would be a little broader than that. But it didn't stop him from hitting balls all over the park and to the moon. So, I mean, that's kind of the definition of stupid pop if you think about it. Larry Walker had it. I played with him in Colorado.
Now, you played in this ballpark, right? Now,
I did for a short period of time. In fact, I finished my career here.
With Adam Dunn, right. So that was where I was going with that. I'm just thinking Adam Dunn in batting practice in this ballpark where the ball just flies out of here. His back-to-back strikeouts for Lorenzen. I mean, I can only imagine the show that he put on.
I kind of remember it a little bit differently from my playing days, but if you look out into center field, you see the black that's out there. If I remember it correctly, there was maybe a little bit more metal than there is now. I can obviously see glass, and it's been a long time since I was here, well over a decade, but there used to be, the way I remember it, there used to be black metal, like a metal wall out there.
Okay.
He dented it all the time. I mean, there were dents all over. Like, you could go out there and check it out, and there would be like 1,000 dents out there. And listen, he was the only guy hitting it out there that far. Most of us, we'll hit it to the grass, maybe a little bit higher, maybe one. Adam's like ping, ping, ping. I mean, balls are bouncing off things that you'd never seen before.
And so consistent. Oh, I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, it was end of the year. It was like 40 and 100, 40 and 120, whatever the numbers
over and over again.
It was just so consistent for years and years and years.
Yep.
Foul tip got a piece of Barnhart. He looks to be all right. 1-2 to Brinson. A couple of strikeouts already this inning for Lorenzen. Got Barnhart. Brinson out to left field, a line drive that will go off the base of the wall. Into second base with a 2-out double is Lewis Brinson. His second hit, and he stays hot over the course of his last 9 games.
A 2-hit night for Brinson. First at bat tonight against Castillo. And the mark was missed. Lorenzen looking to go high in the zone. To challenge Brinson above his hands. He misses. Splits the plate. Brinson was ready for it. Drives it off the left field wall. You see Barnhart along those tippy toes trying to get up to the top of the strike zone. Good night for Brinson.
And now Peter O'Brien. Yeah, Brinson started the season 0 for 7, but is 2 for 3 tonight, so 11 for 33 since then. O'Brien, a high fly ball out to right field. Winker is there to make the catch. To the bottom of the 8th.
Cincinnati, let's go ahead and check in on the Marlins minor league affiliates and see how they are doing on the night.
Clinton Lumber Kings are trailing 2-0. That game in Jupiter currently delayed, but Jupiter does have that 1-run lead. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp with a day off, and then the New Orleans Baby Cakes all tied up with Iowa in the 6th inning. But getting back to that game in Jupiter in particular, some good news involving Braxton Garrett. He is making his first start since Tommy John surgery. Garrett made it through 4 innings of work, only allowed 1 run on 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, and a walk. That was the first time, guys, that he has pitched in nearly 2 years. So good to see him back in the game.
Yeah, that's great news for sure. Jessica, thanks. That one a chopper down the first base line. Walker got a glove on it, but it's going to be, I would imagine, an infield single. Or a single nonetheless. But for Schebler to lead things off, Dietrich and Peraza to follow against Austin Bryce, who pitches in his 4th game this season. 4 strikeouts compared to 2 walks. The opponent average will bump up a tick after that hit given up to Schebler. And that'll bring up Dietrich, the 16th hit tonight for the Reds. And Dietrich, the only position player without one tonight. Let's see here. Winker, Kemp, Suarez, Schebler, Peraza, Barnhart with multi-hit games. Votto was 1 for 3 before coming out of the game. Right back to the netting. A ball and 2 strikes. I got another email here. This one's from Timmy in Liberty City. First of all, he says, guys, really enjoying your broadcast this year. Keep up the good work. Appreciate that. There's more. I don't want to just hang on the compliment. I'm just waiting for the pitch. Yeah, you go. Dietrich got a piece of it, but into the glove of Alfaro. Strikes out for out number 1 in the 8th.
Nice job by Bryce. Got good stuff. That arm angle, velocity on the fastball, and a good breaking ball.
So Timmy goes on to say, got to have more small ball. Too much swinging for the fences. Get on base, take some pitches. What's your take on that?
Well, excuse me, you're not going to deny the fact that you've got some power up and down the lineup, but I do generally agree with that. I think that when you look at ways to be creative, I also think it's going through baseball. I don't think it's just a Marlins thing. I'm hearing more and more teams talk about this. In fact, I was watching a Sunday Night Baseball when we got in Sunday night. It was the Dodgers and the Rockies, and of course the Dodgers have hit well, I'll just use a ton because I don't know the exact number. I do believe it's over 20.
A ton is accurate.
Yeah, right. Home runs. And they were talking about Dave Roberts' message to the team, which is obviously translated into power, but how he wanted a little bit more contact this year. He wanted his guys to concentrate on doing certain things with 2 strikes, thinking about putting the ball in play, starting runners, doing some different things. And it's translated obviously into the home runs, but if you look at who they are and how they've all gotten off to pretty good starts, I mean, it really is undeniable when you're willing to accept the fact, because here's the thing, generally speaking, not even half of your starting lineup on any given night has the power to necessarily go the other way and hit a home run. Now, this ballpark's maybe a little bit different, and we've seen some opposite field home runs tonight. But the point is that, if you're willing to use the big part of the field, which is the middle,
that you're going to naturally put the ball in play more often. Guys who, when you start to think, okay, I want to hit for power, it's about getting the barrel extended. You're not talking about letting the ball get deep in the zone. You're talking about contact out in front of home plate when my arms are fully extended and I'm trying generally to hit the ball out to either center field or your pull side, not your opposite field. So sometimes it's harder for a player who maybe has been doing it his entire life, or a generation of players who have been thinking, swinging up into the zone, taking balls down and trying to hit home runs and do some different things, to all of a sudden accept or believe in maybe a different approach. But I'll say this, if it's collective, I think that it works. And what we've seen around baseball a little bit more, at least I have over the last 5 or 6 days or so, and that's probably because I've watched more baseball, is that teams are trying to implement this a little bit more. I mean, I don't think that anybody in baseball really wants to say that we're just going to excuse strikeouts, and as long as they keep rising, that everybody's going to be happy with it, because I know that fans aren't happy with strikeouts. They don't want to watch stagnant baseball.
You're absolutely right. You want to see the ball in play. You want to see action. It's nice every once in a while. I think anybody would sign up for, the Kerry Wood and the Roger Clemens 20 strikeout games. You'd love to see it because it's historic. But you don't want to see, 13 strikeouts every night.
Well, I mean, this game was definitely built around the idea of action, and we talk about defensive shifting and incorporating this. Listen, strikeouts are a part of the game in moderation. Home runs are a part of the game. Everybody loves home runs, but can't you still have the same number of home runs and have more contact? Can't we have, we used to talk about this with our Marlins team all the time. I think it's very interesting to bring up. Early in ball games, we talked about getting the lead. And we did whatever we had to do to get the lead, whether it was moving a guy along or hitting behind a runner. In some instances, guys dropping down sacrifice bunts against tough pitches. But the idea was we wanted to play for a lead, and if we got past that 5th inning and we had a 2-run lead or more, our approach would generally become, okay, we can open it up a little bit. You get a guy on second base, nobody out. You might see a right-handed hitter try to pull the baseball. It didn't mean that, I just got to hit behind him because I'm trying to move him to third base. We didn't play that type of baseball all game long, but early in games we did. We really believed in that idea, which was playing for the lead. And when you get that lead, then you can kind of open up your offense a little bit more. I think for the Marlins this year, listen, the home runs are fun. I love talking about them as much as anybody. Who doesn't, right? We see them all the time. It's a huge part of our game and a huge part of what our fan base loves. When people say, can offenses do more offensively, that's simply put. I feel like at times we get into this conversation where it's like, okay, well, if we're not hitting the home runs, the people who want this small ball idea want the home runs to stop. Like it's got to be one or the other. Can't you ask your players in today's game, say, listen, you can still swing for the fences 2-0, 3-0 if you've got an idea of what's coming. We're not asking you to swing swing with any less velocity. You know what I mean? This isn't the idea of forehands and backhands. Where backhands are going to be a little bit less than the forehands. But the idea is that, when you're down in the count, can't you put together a different type of at bat?
That one in on the hands of Lorenzen. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 on and 2 out in the 8th inning.
With today's overshifting and knowledge of the game and these defenses, it's hard to put 3 hits together. I get that.
Lorenzen to left center field, and Granderson is there to make the catch in the gap. Hit it well, but Grandy covers some ground to the 9th. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake now has 4 meals, each with 4 items for $4. 4, 4, 4. Get more for 4. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Well, it has been all Reds tonight in the opener of this 3-game series. 14-0 is the score as we move to the 9th. Michael Lorenzen out for his 3rd inning of work. Check that 2nd inning of work. Threw me off because he came in to pinch hit before he came in to pitch. He had a couple of strikeouts in the 8th. He will face Miguel Rojas, who's going to hit in the pitcher's spot first, and then back to the top of the lineup, Granderson and Anderson to follow. Time for the Toyota trend. The last time that they hit back-to-back home runs, May 21st of 2012 against Atlanta. Mike Leake, Zach Cozart, and Drew Stubbs. And Mike Leake, a very athletic pitcher in his own right. As we talked so much about Michael Lorenzen tonight. But Leake got it started on that night. Kemp got it started tonight. Kemp, Suarez, and Schebler going back to back to back in the 6th. So it is Miguel Rojas to lead things off here in inning number 9. Seven for 24 this season for Miggy with 5 RBIs.
Good start. In fact, got the start on Sunday. Went 1 for 3 with a walk.
Rolled to Peraza at short. Dug out by Dietrich at first. Whit Merrifield has another hit tonight, Holly. So he now has a 30-game hit streak going. Congratulations to him. I believe he tied George Brett tonight with the longest hit streak in Royals history. So there's that streak that's going, and then there's the unfortunate one with the Baltimore Orioles with Chris Davis. Chris Davis is 0 for his last 49. And there was a lot of chatter around the cage, and certainly it was, guys kind of lamenting and feeling for Chris Davis. Which to you is more difficult, Merrifield's 30-game hit streak or the fact that Chris Davis is 0 for his last 49?
Well, that's a tough one to really answer. Never experienced both to that level. I believe I had a couple of mid-teens. I think I had a 16-game hitting streak at one time. But most guys I talk to, and I do share their opinion. As you mentioned, we were talking around the cage today. 49 feels very difficult to do. I mean, you feel like you throw a blooper in somewhere, or that you beat out an infield hit, that something would happen that. Curtis Granderson takes his second walk of the night. That would, go your way. I mean,
they shift him like crazy, like an check swing that finds the left side of the infield.
Well,
something.
And as we were kind of talking about it and trying to break it down in our own minds, and of course we haven't seen all of his at bats, and we knew that there was a deep fly ball to right, and I know a line drive to left yesterday, but what he's going through, just the. Yeah, I mean, the defensive shifting to that point, he does strike out a bit, and things have clearly not gone his way.
Strike to Anderson with 1 on and 1 out.
That contract, it's been a tough one for the Baltimore Orioles to deal with, and certainly for their fans. But you caused me to even go back and look the other night, knowing about this long, lengthy hitless slump that he's been in. When you realize he had a season in which he had 53 homers and 138 RBIs. It's the same guy that's dealing with this right now.
I'm just looking. You're right. 53, then 26, then 47. So 2013, 14, and 15, 126 home runs, 327 RBIs. That's an average of 42 and 109. As Anderson strikes out for the second out of the 9th inning. That's 3 strikeouts for Lorenzen tonight. And Neil Walker is the last hope for the Marlins. You saw that, you heard that roar from the crowd. Those that stuck around saw the 10th strikeout. I guess that's a promotion inside the ballpark. 10 strikeouts and everybody gets free pizza. Neil Walker the other way. That one is going to go off the base of the wall. Granderson being held at third by Freddie Gonzalez. A 2-out double for Neil Walker.
Walk has been swinging the bat tonight. He's had some good swings. maybe for some better results. This one takes a fastball away and drives it off the left field wall. And that swing's starting to come around. Good results. An RBI opportunity for Starlin Castro. Runners on second and third. First double of the season for Neal.
Good to see Neil Walker getting some things to fall in, because he's been working hard trying to get right. The hits haven't been falling in for him. He homered on opening day. There was 3 for his last 21 entering tonight. He hit the ball hard, and he gets a knock in what is likely his last at-bat of the game.
Lined out. I mean, he had the best at bat. I mentioned it earlier in the ball game. First time through the lineup against Castillo, hit a rocket to center field. Didn't get anything to show for it. And if you can go back to the Atlanta series, had 3 or 4 hard hit baseballs that didn't go his way. Think of a RBI opportunity in which he ended up hitting into a double play, ball off his bat near 100 miles an hour, but right at, I can't remember who was playing. It might have been Swanson playing right behind the bag at second base. Literally picked the ball, stepped on second, and threw him out. I mean, it was just really tough luck.
Well, there's been a lot of that for the Marlins, and obviously tonight notwithstanding, but 4 of their 7 losses have been by 3 runs or less. They had the tying run on or at the plate in the 9th inning in 4 of the 7 losses. They were walked off on Sunday. Tonight's certainly a different ball of wax. I mean, let's not get out of hand here, but at least up until tonight, they've been kind of right there. And they'll look to bounce back tomorrow. They hand the ball to Trevor Richards. Tyler Mahle gets the start for the Reds. On the air with the Marlins Live pregame show at 6. We are on the air at 6:30 and a 6:40 first pitch tomorrow. One terrific changeup in Luis Castillo tonight, and we'll see Trevor's great changeup tomorrow.
That could be the great equalizer. The Cincinnati Reds team was ready tonight for fastballs. They did not miss too many of them.
Castro trying to keep it going, and just got a piece of it. Another payoff pitch, swung on and missed, and the Reds take the opener of this 3-game series. They had a tough time scoring runs in the first week of the season, but coming in off an off day yesterday, the Reds had the bats going early and often against Jose Urania. Home runs off of Wei-Yin Chen as well, and the Reds shut out the Marlins tonight. Marlins Live postgame show presented by WB Mason is on the way right after the break.